Hi guys, I'm going to demonstrate a technique which is like a monoprint but is using oil pastels. We have lots of old oil pastels in the department, so we're going to use those. So I have an image of an autumn leaf and we're going to use mark making and texture to do this. Now I'm going to turn the leaf over, and if you hold it to the light you can just about see, you can see where the image of the leaf is. So I'm going to lightly sketch around the boundary. Now this is just going to save a little bit of time later. I'm going to select some autumn leaf coloured oil pastels. So there's reds, there's a bit of green, there's sort of darker, more purpley colours, some yellows into here. So I'm going to select a range of colours that I think are appropriate for this, and then I'm going to colour over the top. What I started to do is build up the colours, but I'm layering. I'm not applying the colour at random, I'm thinking a little bit about the design. So I've wanted darker colours along the bottom edge, so I've worked in with a purple, and I'm roughly symmetrical in my application of colour. I am mixing them, so when the yellow goes on top of the purple, you are essentially getting a brown colour. If you think about it, you're mixing red, yellow and blue, because purple is made of blue and red. So I'm building up some colour. I feel like I need a bit more red down this side, but the layering I think is going to make a difference as we go through it. So I'll continue to build up the colour across the back of the image. So you'll be able to see that the colour is quite dense. You are going to have to press quite hard, and if you see, I'm still layering and adding little flashes of other colour into it. Where the colours mix and blend, you'll be able to think a little bit about the colour theory and what you're doing. Now there are little bits on the surface and I'm just going to lightly dust them off. So completely covered, and I'm happy with the background now of the image. I'm turning it over onto a nice piece of paper here, and I've got a little bit of masking tape. I'm going to stick it down. Because masking tape sometimes is quite strong adhesive and will tear your base paper, I'm just going to put a little piece across the top. Now you want to be able to lift and look, so please do not tape round the whole image. Now using a sharp pencil, notice very sharp, I'm going to start drawing, and I'm going to start drawing the outline. I'm not drawing a heavy outline, I'm doing a broken outline. Now I'm going to draw a line here to show you what I mean. That's a heavy outline. This is a broken outline where I'm altering the weight or lifting the pencil up completely and putting marks into it. Now the pressure on here is transferring the oil pastel from the back of the image onto the paper below. You can see the image there. It's quite light in this area because there's yellow transferring. So I'm going to work around first of all the outline. After drawing around the outline, I'm now going to work on the veins that run down the centre of the leaf. So I'm thinking about the structure before I start thinking about mark making and pattern. So you can see quite an interesting drawing developing just in line. Now I'm going to start applying some mark making. Now remember, mark making can be dots, dashes, lines. If you think about the nature of the subject, it's organic, so it's not going to be like heavy pattern. It's going to be quite subtle and loose. So I'm going to be putting little dots into it. I'm going to put lines into it. You might do some solid fill sections where there's some of these denser patterns, but you're using the pattern on the leaf to guide you. Remember, it's organic and each leaf is slightly different. Within the packs that are in the classrooms, there are quite a few different designs. So I'm beginning to add textures. I might add little lines onto the edge and build up some further texture. The density and distribution of the pattern obviously matter, like most things, where we have to think about how we're exploring mark making and how we're applying. The reason why it's called a monoprint is because you get a single print from the image. In theory, we could use this image again, put more oil pastel on the back and make further prints using the same image. If you were working at home and you had some oil pastel, you could use this with a magazine image and take a picture of my magazine. So anything could be placed here, as long as it's quite thin and the pressure isn't dispersed too greatly as it goes through the paper, you'll get a nice crisp line. Yesterday I made another one where I was working solely with black oil pastel, and so this one looks a bit more like a line drawing, but you can see the range of textures and marks quite clearly because there's no conflict with colour. I do think that you could add watercolour or ink wash over the top of this and extend this work further if you wanted to later.